Okay, so good morning and welcome all sisters and brothers to this last session of Young Indian Theosophist on Sundays that we have been doing for several years now. But after this, it will be taking place on Tuesday evenings with Triveni Tuesday meetings along with the other lodges, three lodges already together. So before we begin today's session, a very important session, let us all come together in heart and mind and invoke that universal immutable principle. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May all who feel themselves as one with thee know they are therefore one with every other. Welcome again, everyone. And today, as you know, we have a very important subject in the continuation of the earlier presentation regarding morals and ethics. And today we have the subject as divine ethics. And to present that, we have with us very respected and known to all, Brother U.S. Pandey. I think he has been serving Theosophy and Theosophical Society for several years now. And in the whatever duty he has been given, he is a national and the international speaker of Theosophical Society. He has been secretary of the UP Federation for several years before he became the president of the Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand Federation. He has written books in Hindi and English by the names of Theosophy Ke Ayam and Theosophical Blooms, in which various articles of his have been published, giving the insights about the theosophical principles. He has been awarded the Radha Bernier Award conferred by the Indian section for the most, we can say, active theosophist of the year. And there is list of achievements and more importantly, his work that he has been doing continuously with colleges, the schools, children's, and with the different social groups in whichever field they are working. And he's trying to take the teachings of Theosophy far and wide to every nook and corner of India. And when he's abroad also, he gives talks in the sections abroad. So without taking any more time, I request Brother U.S. Pandey to share his views and understanding on this very important subject of divine ethics.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brother Shikhar. And before I start, I welcome and extend my hearty greetings to all brothers and sisters who have joined today's program. My best wishes to all of them. Today's topic, the divine ethics, is the culmination of the series of talks on various aspects of the ethics and morality, which I had occasion to present on this forum since last many sessions. So, coming to the subject, first let us see a general view. Our social and individual living is mostly based on false values of self-interest in the things which are of nature of shifting sands, of kaleidoscopically changing matter, instead on the stability of the immoral spirit, organized, religious, confuse the human reason by false notions of God and gods, even and hell, and so lead man to a problematic activity, ruinous alike to the mental form and to the steady life. The purpose of this whole paragraph is to say presently the bulk of humanity is living in the so-called worldly matter, worldly pursuits, which are nature of shifting sand. They are never permanent, they are never eternal. They can never lead to our eternal peace and purpose of life. Whatever ordinary religions are there, they are creating confusion by distorting the concept of God, concept of man, and concept of relation between man, God, and universe. So to overcome such difficulties and to live intelligently and to move onward, one needs to hitch his wagon to some constellation of very positive and pure ideas. Such cannot be found in constantly shifting sands or knowledge of modern school. There is that knowledge which changes not, which like the spirit in man is constant, which laws of body consistent. Philosophical ideas and ethical ultimates are the basis on which that knowledge is based. These innate ideas reveal themselves in the intuitive response which we occasionally get for deciding what is right and what is wrong and for taking line of action. Now, truth, justice, mercy, harmlessness, forgiveness means ever the same. Passionate minds may argue upon them, write articles on them, discuss at them, but even the heart of the most common person, most illiterate person, responds to these virtues, which are universal virtues, justice, mercy, harmless, forgiveness, that appeal to every man, common man of every race, every color, every nationality, wherever we feel. And also people know that what is the law of karma, that it said, paper plant will not give but roses, not the sweet jasmine, silver stars, spawns, or sacred sun. That means whatever we sow, that we reap. This is also a basic concept which is accepted by almost all people in their heart, if not in their practice. The moral order of the universe is a super fact. The moral universe, and not only the material one, is governed by the law. As we know that in theosophy, you are told that the world is at many levels: physical level, astral level, mental level, buddhic level. So what we call as mental and buddhic level, so the moral world. Just like the phenomena in physical world is governed by physical law of mechanics, similarly, the moral world, or that mental world and buddhic world also governed by definite laws of nature, which we can call ethical laws. Now, ethics, what is ethics? First, we will see some points about ethics. Of course, this was covered in detail by first of the talk. Ethics is called also the science of morality, and also it is a branch of philosophy that is studies the nature of right and wrong and of moral judgment. Right and wrong for what purpose? With what view? That we'll see later. The Western philosophical traditions, the study of ethics is generally divided into three categories: metaethics, normative ethics, and applied ethics. Metaethics, which is beyond ethics, is a higher order inquiry into the origin or nature of the concept of the right and wrong. Plato, for example, taught that moral values are eternal principles independent of the will of God or human mind. That means moral values or ethical values are beyond the concept of any God or any personal God, whatever man has made. So, and normative ethics is inquiry into how we arrive at moral standards that will serve as a basis for right conduct. And the applied ethics is a formal branch of philosophy, is a relatively new development arising out of the need to arrive at moral judgment on certain urgent problems of the society which has cropped up recently, like the euthanasia, abortion, cloning, human equality, human rights, etc. Organ transplant also comes. So in these various phenomena, what and how the ethics is applied, that comes in the category of applied ethics. Ethics is also called a science of conduct, as there is science of biology, science of astronomy, science of psychology. So these are the laws of conduct which as sure as change and changeless as all the laws in the nature. laws which can be discovered and stated, and which form a system of coordinated principles of action leading to happiness, not only the self, but all persons who come into contact with such behavior, ethical behavior. This science, which is morality, or it is also termed as morality or ethics, right conduct lays down the conditions of harmonious relations between the individual, groups of individuals, and other several environmental groups, the families, societies, nations, and humanity as a whole. Only by the knowledge and observance of these laws can men be either permanently happy or permanently satisfied with their life and live in peace. Where morality is unknown or disregarded, friction inevitably results, disharmony and pain result. For nature is a settled order in the mental and moral world as much as in the physical world. And only by the knowledge of that order, that system, and by obedience to it, it can, it can bring harmony, health, and happiness to human and to individual human beings. Now, what is divine ethics? In the theosophical glossary, while describing the term theosophia, it is stated in its practical bearing, theosophy is purely divine ethics. Theosophy is purely divine ethics. All that was great, generous, heroic was in days of old not only talked about and preached from pulpits as in our own time, but acted upon sometimes by whole nations. This is stated by Madame Blonsky in the Key to Theosophy. In numerous places, Blonsky emphasizes the practice of theosophical ethics. By incident, theosophical ethics are not something unique and special. They are ancient, like the metaphysical and philosophical doctrines of theosophy. These ethics are the soul of the wisdom religion and were once the common property of initiates of all nations, wrote Blonsky. Not only did Gautama and Jesus preach the ancient ethics, or rather divine ethics, but with every attempt of theosophizing any race, for example, the attempt of the Ammonia Shikhar when he established the theosophical, a sort of theosophical society to reconcile the all religious groups, that was also an effort towards the implementation and validation of the divine ethics. The modern movement founded by Blonsky and others in 1875 follow the ancient pattern in this as an output. In the Key to Theosophy, she points out that theosophy has to inculcate ethics, and in presenting moral teachings, she uses the same principle as in offering the philosophical and metaphysical teachings. Just as she synthesized the teachings of every ancient school of philosophy, so also in the sphere of ethics. The second of the three objects of the society she initially declared was like this: the serious study of ancient world religion for purpose of comparison and selection therefrom of the universal ethics. This was the phrase of the second objective initially. The society was formed. Later on, there have been alterations, not only in this objective, in other two also, in wording and phrases. The essence of these ethics in daily living unfold the latent divine powers in man, is stated by Blonsky. The latent divine powers of man, which is also a part of third objective. So, one of the means to unfold the divine power is following the universal ethics or divine ethics or theosophical ethics in our practical life. And in Key to Theosophy, she explains about the divine ethics. They are the essence and cream of the world ethics, gathered from the teachings of all the world's great reformers. Therefore, you will find represented therein Confucius, Zoroaster, Lao Tzu, and Bhagavad Gita, Gautam Buddha precepts, Jesus of Nazareth, a pillar, and the school of the Pythagoras, Socrates, Plato, and their school. So in all these schools, in all these teachings of the great reformers, they're quoted here, the universal ethics or divine ethics principles are there. The moral philosophy of the wisdom religion, like its living science and its universal metaphysics, is the time-honored expression of the great cosmos. Now, these universal ethics are the great expression of the cosmos. What does it mean? When cosmos gets manifested, the certain laws appear. They are called laws of nature. Philosophy said in the sacred doctrine, the Parabrahman principle itself manifested the laws of nature. And the highest laws of nature are the divine ethics or universal ethics, according to which the moral world has to be lived, moral world has to be sustained, moral world has to be endured. So that's why it is very important for each of the self-conscious unit of this universe, that is human being, one does understand what are the universal ethics and how should we practice, how should we uh, uh, idealize in our society and individual life. So the cosmos is not only visible and material, but also energy and more. Cosmos is energy. That is every level of the cosmos, right from the physical to the subtlest level or level, is the only field of energy. And the higher we move, that the cellular level, the energy is more prominent, more powerful. That's why it is said that a pound of moral force creates many times influence effect than the same quantity of physical force. So moral force is more important than physical force, many times more important. Uh, in her 5 messages to the American theosophy, she wrote, the essence of theosophy is the perfect harmonizing of the divine with the human in man, and that is the purpose of divine ethics. The adjustment of his godlike qualities and aspirations and their sway with the terrestrial or animal passions in him. That means uniting or attuning our lower nature to the higher nature. Kindness, absence of every ill feeling or selfishness, charity, goodwill to all beings, and perfect justice to others as oneself are the chief features of the divine ethics. He who teaches theosophy preaches the gospel of goodwill, and converse is also true. He who preaches the gospel of goodwill teaches theosophy. That means goodwill to all beings, even to those are our enemies. Now let us see some points about general ethics and theosophical or divine ethics. What is the basic difference between the general ethics, which are insisted upon or which are practiced by the society in general, though also in superficial manner, and real divine ethics? The traditional institutions refer to the Hindu ethics, Christian ethics, Muslim ethics, and so on, and sometimes mix up religious ritualism and social customs with moral principles. They are like business houses with their chants exploiting the self-interest of their adherents for sectarian purpose. They don't encourage the practice of the universal principle, particularly the universal brotherhood. Secondly, while it is true that good conduct is stressed and ethical values are discussed, the pure first principle of morality rooted in the soil of universal philosophy are unknown to most of the organized religions, at least in present form, but how they have been practiced. True philosophy is absent where their salary fees present in the scientific researcher also its altruism and ethics principle are absent. That's why Master K.H. wrote in one of the letters that exact experimental science has nothing to do with morality, virtue, philanthropy. Therefore, can make no claim upon our health until it blends itself with metaphysics. Ethics is a basic bedrock of every religion. The various faiths however, do not agree on what constitutes valid norms that will guide human beings arrive at right moral judgment in every situation. Ethics in Judeo-Christian Islamic tradition is primarily based on authority. The scripture laws like Torah, New Testament, Quran are handed down by prophets. The scriptures based on ethical and scriptures based ethics inevitably produce some uh, moral conflict also, because when the followers of these ethics interpret them, they sometimes tend to take them literally, and they adhere to the literally sense of their ethics, even though, according to change situation, the literal application may cause sometimes strife, discontent, and damage also. In Eastern philosophy, particularly Buddhism, Hinduism, and Taoism, uh, what is the right and wrong action depends upon whether it helps in arriving at the ultimate liberation from bondage or sorrow. So, one of the standards of deciding whether the ethical principle is universal ethics, divine ethics. So, this is being different in Eastern and Western philosophy. Eastern philosophy, the, that conduct which helps us in free us from the bondage of sorrow or bondage of karma, that is the right kind of that ethical behavior. The ideal action is motiveless action or impersonal action. It is the essence of karma yoga in Bhagavad Gita. So there are some ethical principles that the great religious traditions seem to share, although these principles may not necessarily be considered as the core norms of the individual religion. For example, the golden mean rule, which says that do not do to others that you do not want to unto. This is accepted in all religions, though in different varying phase and words. Some others, like unselfishness, love, compassion, also emphasized by various religions. Now, theosophical task is different from that every church and every organized religion platform and every social service program. Theosophy is essentially unsectarian, as we know, and work for it forms the entrance in the inner life. But none can enter there save the man himself in the highest and truest spirit of brotherhood. And any other attempt at entrance would either be futile or he will be lost at the threshold. So that is what we say the same, our first object, without any difference of religion, caste, creed, sex. Divine ethics is its very nature is eternal, universal, and impartial in its application. Impartial in its application. To the extent, therefore, that racial or national morality and conduct are based on universal principles, to the extent they conform to the principle of universal ethics or divine ethics. However, we do find many code of ethics peculiar to the races and nations and that make up our present day world. And the application of those codes tends more towards separation than towards unity. And therefore, such code of ethics cannot be called as universal or divine ethics. Here we see the evil of dire hearsay of separateness, which divides individuals and groups of individuals, nations, and races from unending. This sense of separateness results in unrest and strife and a tendency towards war and destruction instead of towards peace and construction. In the ancient Rig Veda, virtue is given the first place. In the famous hymn of Rig Veda, Kama, Kam Deva, or Love, Prem, in Greek Eros, is said to be the first movement that arose in the one. After it had come into the power of power, abstraction. In the Atharvaved, we find Kamdeva was born the first. Him neither devas, pitris, nor men have equal. Thou art superior to those and far ever great. This is the invocation in the Atharvaved for the Kamdeva. The concept of Kamdeva has become degraded in the course of centuries, like the Eros, the Greek philosophy, With the seers of the Veda, with the sages of Veda, Kamdeva personified the first conscious, all-embracing desire for universal good, love, and for all that lives and feels, need help and kindness. The first feeling of infinite tender compassion and mercy that arose in the consciousness of the creative one force as soon as it came into life and being as a ray from the absolute. There is no idea of sexual love in this concept of kama, which is mentioned in the Rig Veda and Atharvaveda. Kama is preeminently the divine desire of creative happiness and love. That is what Brodsky says. Kama, as defined or as mentioned in the or through Vedas, is preeminently the divine desire of creative happiness and love. And whatever human behavior corresponds to that basic principle, that we can say the, follow the path of the universal ethics. The basis of true ethics has been clearly enunciated in the texts that are the Voice of the Silence, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Sermon on the Mount. They can be traced and found in ethical precepts expounded by Mohammedan mystics and Sufis. They may also be found in Jewish and Christian scriptures and other sacred texts of the world. From this, it is seen that the avenues for research are many and varied, but an essential basis for such research in order to avoid the pitfalls of non-essential is a comprehensive and complete study of the three fundamental propositions of the secret doctrine. If theosophy is divine wisdom or divine knowledge, and its application is divine ethics or divine morality, then the steps from speaker to the practitioner would indicate the many types of theosophy that there are in the world. Many are theosophists because they live according to the basic tenets of theosophy, teaching, and ethics, we call divine wisdom and divine ethics, even though they may not themselves be aware of the theosophical philosophy or may be unaware of the fact. There are many others who have recognized the teaching and the teacher, and because of this, there's a duty of promulgation by word of mouth or pen, and more important, still by action in terms of teaching, they study and promulgate. Some theosophists have attempted to derive ethical principles from more basic assumptions about the nature of the world and the nature of the human beings in the world. These assumptions are sometimes called ordering principles. One list of them developed at the workshop of several members of CS in America is as follows. Unity, oneness, holism, then polarity of consciousness and matter, then order, lawfulness in the universe, then harmony and a secondary harmonic principle, then cyclic nature of manifestation, then theology, purpose, then spiritual perfectibility. Now, these are some of the ordering principles on which the practice of theosophy ethics is recommended. And theosophy ethics follow logically from these principles. Let us see two of these principles. The most basic principle of the theosophical world view is that there is one reality underlying, as it were, the obvious plurality of the manifested universe. This is the first principle of theosophy. There is one reality, only one reality underlying obvious plurality of the world or universe. This is articulated by Brodsky in the first of the three fundamental propositions, where it is said there is an omnipotent, eternal, boundless, and immutable principle on which all speculation is impossible, since it transcends the power of human conception and could only be drawn by any human expression or simply truth. This quote from Secret Doctrine, Volume 1. This only could also be described as holism, using the term coined by Jan Krishna Smart and used in the title of his book, Holism and Evolution, in which he described both evolution and politics as a series of increasingly comprehensive integration. That is, the unity is not a uniformity, but an integrated whole. This was described in his book by John Smart. The ethical principle which derives from the first of the ordering principles, that is, unity, oneness, and holiness, is the brotherhood. In other words, brotherhood, which includes a compassionate attitude towards animals and plants, as well as towards other humans, is a fact in nature, unfortunately not properly realized by most humans, as indicated, for example, by presence of racial, ethnic, religious prejudices, as well as war. Now, one of the ethical principles derives from the polarity, the second order principle of polarity of the consciousness and matter. Now, one of the principles or ethical principles we can derive from this ordered principle, polarity and matter, is that each of our action, behavior, feeling affects others. We are all different poles connected with common magnetic thread, and therefore feeling and thought of each individual being affects not only the persons who stand very close by, but all people in the universe. And therefore, it becomes our great responsibility to check and control our feeling and thought so that even unconsciously people are not affected. Our bad feelings and bad or negative thoughts are absorbed by unconsciously by many people, and which those kind of thoughts they help or rather they activate their deterioration, their moral value, their moral thinking, and that's why for that karma we become responsible. And that is why it is important the meditation of awareness all the time, what feeling and what thought is arising in our mind, because these are not only different things, these are going to affect the whole universe. That should be the basis of this mindfulness and awareness meditation. So it is said, be theosophists, work for. What do you mean be theosophists? That means following theosophists in our life, in our day-to-day mundane activity, activity. Theosophy first and theosophy last. For practical realization alone can save the world from that selfish and unbrotherly feeling that now divide races from races, one nation from the other, and from that hatred of class and social considerations that are the curse and disgrace of human society. Philosophy alone can save it from the sinking entirely into that mere luxurious materialism in which it will decay and putrefy as civilization have done earlier. This point is also emphasized in Mahachavat's letter, which is called Charter of the Theosophical Society, in which he said that presently, at that time when the letter was written, 1888, the human society is divided into two groups. One is pure materialism, that means where they only eat, drink, and marry type of life, that is leading them to sharp and steep degradation of the society. And other is wrong belief, superstitious belief, and superstitious practices in terms of religion, which are again leading to downward slide of humanity. And both these will cause rather decay and destruction of the human society. That's why he said that there is hardly any place for the dove of truth to rest its place. And one of the purpose of Theosophical Society was to create that space, small space, for the dove of truth to rest its leg there. And that the meaning thereby that a small space was created so that to which you can create the nucleus of universal brotherhood based on the principle of pure. Now, certain precautions are to be undertaken at this stage of evolution. Our position as we are maturing in the fifth sub-race of the fifth race and sixth sub-race knocking on our door. So we are the forerunners of sixth sub-race of the fifth root race, and it's shown special peril as well as special advantage. Now, sixth sub-race will not only bring advantage, but it may bring certain perils also. This caution here. What are perils? The psychism, with all its allurement and all its dangers, is necessarily developing among some people. In the sixth race, it says psychism will develop. That means persons who are progressing in that direction, psychism will develop earlier. And many persons, many of us who have not realized this basic fact and have not purified our thought about that are likely to misuse those psychic fashion. So that is the precaution. We must see that psychic faculties which are developing are sometimes by developing us. We should be careful and also apply logic there, whether they are useful to apply or not. That should always be. Again, the same meditation of mindfulness will come handy to decide which psychic faculty we should reject, which psychic faculty we should accept. So that precaution is given. The sincere and potent blessings of those who goodwill never fail you. And Brodsky says one of the remedies for avoiding the ill effect of the psychic faculty is altruism. Altruism in action, altruism in behavior, altruism in thought. So altruism should be our keyword to not only to help us in evolution, but to protect us from the peril of the psychism, which is likely to develop as we are to separate. Need and practice, need and effect of practicing divine ethics. Not knowledge, but heart enlightenment of a large number of men and women will compel the nation states to stop the destructive use of discoveries of modern science, and similar phenomena must follow in the space of organized and legal religion. The emergence of international state implies international citizenship. This must not be along political-economic sphere only, but fundamentally along moral and spiritual values. Politics and economics will continue to be nationalistic unless the real significance of universal brotherhood is perceived and practiced. And for its full perception, some practice of divine ethics is necessary. Human beings must aspire to feel the divinity within and begin to act like shining gods and not as political animals. That's the first step on our. To become truly human, it is necessary to get hold of the important philosophical principles that virtues are as definite as metaphysical categories of spirit, matter, mind, light, darkness, sight, space, force, motion, etc. First, we must realize virtue are that definite principles as these principles like spirit, matter, mind, light, darkness, sight, space, etc. The animal man becomes human by discarding vicious tendencies and progresses to divinity by cultivating moods of virtue, which become his vibhuti, excellency, as described by Krishna and Bhagavad Gita. These vibhutis, excellencies, are fixed in our nature, and they then radiate the compassionate attitude from such person, from each of us who follow divine ethics. This compassion is the archetypal virtue. That's why it was the wife of Prana says, compassion is the law of laws. So this is archetypal virtue, which manifests as trinity of good, truth, and beautiful. Out of the first comes the moral factor. Out of the good comes moral factor. Out of the truth comes the intellectual. That means we always endeavor to become truthful. And the joint action is regenerative beauty, which is the joy and bliss. While Atmavidya, that is wisdom of his spirit, is highlighted, the society is more concerned, society means theoretical society, is more concerned that social justice be reestablished on the lines of eternal verities of life and laws of nature. There is also stated by Brodsky very emphatically in the key to theosophy and in several of our articles. The purpose of theosophical society, bringing the theosophy or Atmavidya, is not only to elevate man in the moral nature, that is one of the also basic purpose, but also the social justice should be practiced on these lines, that means social reform should be practiced on this line. Madam Brodsky affirms the main fundamental object of the society is to sow germs in the hearts of men and women, which may in time sprout and under more propitious circumstances lead to healthy reform, conducive of more happiness to the masses than they have hitherto enjoyed. A new order without any distinction, whatever so important, humanity is spiritual. Now, this point is very important, emphasized by Brodsky and Mahatma also, that our job is to sow the seeds, though knowing fully well that seeds may not germinate everywhere. Some seeds may fall on the barren soil or on the rock, it may not germinate. but that should not dishearten. In actual practice, everybody experiences many of the members get disheartened. They see even senior members, they say our teaching are not affecting many people visually. So there we have to be cautious. We should not try to see immediate effect of these teachings. But what is important that we are putting the seed of these ideas in the consciousness of that individual man or woman. And if not in this incarnation, it may find fruition in the next incarnation. That we must be sure. And with this view, we should go on putting the seeds without any weariness, without any feeling of tiredness, and without any feeling that these are going to be ineffective. Our effort is going to be ineffective. That feeling should be completely, we should get rid of each of the justice we want to complete just the idea. Practice of divine ethics makes you realize your uniqueness and yet identity with all others and live in present as universal, real and really real. The ultimate of our existence is the attainment of happiness, joy, and bliss. It is also exemplified as at one meant with all, and that state is called in glory as bliss, the supreme happiness, bliss. So, this divine ethics leads to the divine thought. What does it mean? Mahachavan, the same letter says, there is hardly a theosophist in the theosophical society unable to effectively help it by correcting the erroneous impression of the outsider, if not by actually propagating himself this idea of a noble and unselfish man to help us effectively in India with that divine thought. Clearly laid out 2 points. There are many wrong impressions, ideas about philosophy and theoretical society. That is the experience of most of us when we interact with outsiders. And here our job becomes, our duty becomes to clarify those ideas to the extent we can, according to our capacity, and then promulgate these ideas. This is what Mahachavan said, the divine thought. True service is the spiritual service, which seeks to elevate the minds and hearts of people, helping them to change their mode of thinking and living so that peace and harmony may reign supreme in the world. We should perform such service, feeding the hungry soul with the great truth of the theosophy. And in promulgating theosophy, it is necessary to bear in mind the function of theosophy is to open man's heart and understanding to charity, justice, and generosity, attributes which belong especially to the human kingdom and are natural to man, which he has developed qualities of a human being. We should follow and emphasize that these qualities, like charity, justice, and generosity, are natural to each human being. So we have the divine task of unfolding our humanity and helping our fellow men to do likewise. That this mission is not something very chimerical, is explained thus. The life of altruism is not so much a high ideal as a matter of practice. Naturally, then, curiosity finds a home in many hearts and minds and strikes a resounding harmony as soon as it reaches the ears of those who are ready to listen. There, then, is part of your work to lift the torch of liberty of the soul of truth that all may see and benefit by its sight. Therefore, it is the ethics of the curiosity or divine ethics, even more important to mankind than the scientific aspects of the psychic facts of the future man. To conduct oneself in accordance with the divine ethics or theosophical ethics and to propagate the theosophical teaching so as to correct the wrong beliefs of others and inculcate in them the principles of divine ethics like unity and altruism, etc., is a divine task which we theosophists are made responsible to perform, to bring our brother or neighbor on the right path. That is one of the great responsibilities given by the leaders of the movement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing in detail with us about the divine ethics. And I think especially that think the purpose of theosophy that was you were mentioning is to sow the seeds in the minds of the theosophist, which will bring fruits in the future. So if any of our delegates have any questions or any additions, any comments, please raise your hand and I'll invite you to ask the question, or you can. Bhavani Shankar Mohanty ji, you want to say something?
Pranam to all of you.
Haan.
Pranam to the listeners attending such a nice listening such a nice deliberation. During the course of discussion, speaker uttered the word of liberation. One thing it struck to my mind that liberation in the human life, staying in society, can be attained by practicing four Brahma Viharas, that is the cardinal virtues, namely Maitri, that is universal friendship, Karuna, that is universal pity, then Mudita, the happiness in the prosperity and the well-being of all, and Upekkha, the indifference to any kind of preferential treatment for oneself or one's family and friends, one's enemy or a third party. The purpose is that the virtues to overcome the difference between the happiness or safety of himself and that of others. The others is, so to say, is extinguished, the duality vanishes, and the effect of Brahma Vihara is therefore is to purge all egoism. With this, I conclude my feeling here. Many thanks to the moderator, the veteran Theosophist brother Shikhar Agnihotri, giving me opportunity to say something. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I wish you a happy day. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhavani ji, for your comment. Pandey ji, would you like to say something about it?
He has very rightly said these four principles of teaching the essence of Gautam Buddha form the is part of the divine ethics. As said, Gautam Buddha, Jesus, and all the great teachers, they propagated divine ethics, and these four cardinal virtues, as he said, are definitely part of the divine ethics.
And so basically, we can say the divine ethics are something that are universal natural laws which are impressed on each and every atom of this universe.
And implementation becomes the responsibility of the human being.
Human being.
He can only have faculty for implementing.
Yeah. And only when we do something, okay, they cannot be broken, but there will only be consequences if we do something not in harmony with them. So, yeah. Okay, that was nice. Anybody else who would like to share something or have any questions, queries? We can take it up. Okay. Otherwise, we'll proceed for closing. And since, as you know, this is the last session of YIT on Sundays, and from next time it will be on Tuesday evenings. So I first of all extend heartfelt gratitude to Brother U.S. Pandey ji from on behalf of Indian section, Young Indian Theosophist, all the delegates, and on my personal behalf for taking up this subject, practical subject, and also to all the delegates for taking time and joining this last session on Sunday. And
that is the matter which I presented. I have given my book, The Theosophical Blooms.
In the Theosophical Blooms, yeah. So if anybody wants to read in more and detail and other important articles on important subjects also, please, you can contact Brother U.S. Pandey for a copy.
No, copies are not available now. Unless I get substantial demand, I can reprint. I can get.
Okay.
All copies are exhausted.
Okay, so but anyway, if you want a copy, you can write to him so he can coordinate. I mean, he can, once he gets a substantial number, can print and send it to you. So, yeah. And thank you, everyone. And let us once in the end, let's pray
Pandey,
for the.
sorry, Shikhar, that Hindi book is being under print. It's going to come within a week or so.
Okay, Theosophy के आयाम.
नहीं, ब्रह्म विद्या के मोती.
अच्छा, ब्रह्म विद्या के मोती. Okay, okay, okay. That is the latest one, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is under print, so that will be available.
So I've requested any person, any member, if you want, you can put the one that book is supplied free.
Free. Okay, okay, okay.
Indian section is bearing the cost.
Cost. Okay, okay, sir. तो ब्रह्म विद्या के मोती अगर किसी को चाहिए तो for that you can write to US Pandey ji.
Only we charge little amount of postage and handling.
Only the postage charge and no other cost involved. So let us come together again in the end to send our thoughts for the welfare of the whole manifestation. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you once again, everyone, and have a great Sunday and week ahead. Namaskar.
Thank you to all.
Thank you.